Hello and welcome back. While the butterfly method does spend a good deal of time talking about the root of your anxiety and developing long-term solutions for it, in this video we're going to do things a little differently. And we're going to teach you a few methods and techniques that you can learn right now to manage your stress and anxiety.
I just wanted to reiterate a point that we covered in the last video, and that is that although stress and panic attacks can feel very real, it's actually a trick, it's an illusion. It's your brain tricking you into thinking that you're in danger or dying, and it's chemicals being released. These chemicals are very powerful and they can change the way you feel and the way you think. You can actually feel like you're being real life in a dark alley chased by someone with a knife when all you did was forget to call your sister. This is only an illusion, and if you can reframe your experience, and what that means is step out of what's going on, realizing that it's your body overreacting, and it's not actually something that's really physically happening to you, you can actually take away anxiety's power.
So you're saying that when someone is feeling very anxious and stressed, they should just take a step back and say, I shouldn't be feeling like this, I'm overreacting.
Right. If you can do that, then you've already started to conquer anxiety, and that's the first step.
So if I start feeling anxious, I should just call it out then?
Call it out. Acknowledge that it's useless, it's unnecessary, and that your anxiety is actually a relic of your caveman brain. Step back, reframe the experience, and remember these three words, the most important words from the butterfly method, and that's breathe, distract, and posture. Breathing is a very underused but very highly effective tool at reducing stress. It's actually very important.
I just realized that every time someone is anxious or really stressed out, the first thing you do is you say, take a deep breath.
Right. Ever notice how when you're really stressed out, especially if you're going to the gym and you're lifting a heavy weight, what do? We clench and we don't breathe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what does your trainer say to you?
Breathe.
Right, okay. So it's actually very important. Breathing is very important. What you want to do is not only take bigger breaths, but deeper breaths.
Mm-hmm.
Through your diaphragm, you want to feel it go in and out. You want to concentrate on that as well. It's so important that when you exhale twice as long as you inhale. And there are a couple of breathing techniques that I like to implement, and one of them is taking a deep breath and holding it for 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And another technique that I also really like is the 4-7-8 technique.
What's the 4-7-8 technique?
Sit up tall so that you can get nice, good breath. And then what you want to do is you want to inhale through your nose for a 4 count. Hold it for a 7 count. And now exhale for an 8 count. Let it all out hard. Well done.
That feels really great.
Right? It only takes 1 minute and you can completely relieve your anxiety and get yourself into a state of calm. So it works 2 ways. One, by oxygenating your blood, you're actually allowing your body to pull out toxins through this oxygenated blood. And the other way is by focusing on your breathing, the air coming in and out of your body and how it feels, you're no longer focusing on the anxiety, so your mind can actually begin to relax.
I've noticed that when I'm very busy, I don't really worry about things because I'm so busy.
Right. If you don't focus on your anxiety, amazingly enough, if you focus on something else, your anxiety can disappear. It's because thinking about it is what causes it to stay there. So that's actually the second part of the butterfly method, and that is distraction. If you can distract yourself by anything, hobby, activity, sport, you can actually make anxiety completely disappear.
What do you mean by that?
I literally mean distract yourself. See, panic attacks and anxiety are, although they feel really real and really horrible, they're actually illusions. They're caused by chemicals being released in your body to make you feel like you're in danger. So if you can focus on something completely different, on something else, then you're no longer focused on the anxiety and you can completely make it go away.
So, go to the gym.
Absolutely. Going to the gym will fully distract you, which is great, but it'll also release endorphins in your body, which will make you feel good, feel better about exercise. Now, we also talked about fight or flight response, where your body releases hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol. So now you'll have a place to release all of that by working out and carrying those toxins out of your system. Stay focused, Make sure it's intense and fully immerse yourself in the workout, and you'll get the full benefits.
So if not the gym, then find a hobby. Build a doghouse, learn a language.
Exactly. I happen to have a dog, so if you need to build something.
Happy to.
So you can do any of those things. You can also count down from 100 to 1 really, really fast. You can do the 4, 7, 8 breathing technique, or splash cold water on your face repeatedly for 10 minutes. Anything that requires your full attention.
Or if you live in a place where there's a drought, maybe you just put the water in a bowl instead of running the faucet. I think that'd be more responsible.
Good point, good point. But yes, anything that's interesting and fully distracts you.
It seems simple, but it makes a lot of sense. Once we understand that anxiety is just an overreaction and it's not really necessary, then there's no reason for us to dwell in it.
You know, that's a really great way of looking at it. The distraction principle is based on a psychotherapy treatment called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. CBT focuses on a way of changing the way you think, your attitudes, your behavior, and your mindset, so you get to feel good all the time. CBT also says that it's not necessarily based on the situation or the circumstances, but the meanings and the feelings you've associated with these circumstances.
It's like we were talking about with roller coasters. Two people can be on the roller coaster, having the exact same experience, and one person can be thoroughly enjoying it, while the other person is panicky, fear-stricken, and hates the whole thing.
Right, exactly. Some people love them, some people hate them. And it has nothing to do with anything other than their personal experiences. Roller coasters are neither good nor bad. People just decide based on their experiences.
Yeah, I just don't get them. They're dirty, they're jarring, and they make you sick. I don't see the appeal.
I totally disagree with you, Mr. Manhattan. But instead of arguing, I'm going to give you an example of a learned negative response. So, kind of embarrassed to tell you, but when I was little, I had a lot of cavities. I know, shocking. And inadvertently, I spent a lot of time in the dentist chair. Had to get drilled, had to have teeth pulled out, and wasn't fun. So even though later in life, I developed almost a perfect dental record, I was never going to get a cavity again. I always got nervous every time I walked into a dentist's office. Now, I'm not sure what it was, whether it was just that clinical smell, the cheesy artwork on the wall, that little, tightly woven carpet, like it's everywhere in every medical office too. I said, that would start to make me panic. My hands would sweat. I would get all nervous. My feet would sweat in my shoes, and it was awful. And I never wanted to go. So I realized if I implemented the technique of cognitive behavioral therapy, I can start associating positive feelings with going to the dentist's office, because clearly I had something in my subconscious that was still triggering me into getting nervous and panicking, which is why I was feeling it throughout my whole body. And I was able to successfully do that now I can actually go to the dentist's office and not panic.
So distraction was part of your CBT reprogramming for the dentist?
Absolutely. When I got anxious about an upcoming cleaning, I would first do the 4, 7, 8 technique. I'd also work out a lot. I'd hike my dog, and that really helped in distracting me to disassociate stimuli from my body's initial response. So I was able to train myself to really not care that much about the sound of the drill.
So the more frequently you're able to distract yourself from the anxiety associated with a specific stimuli, then the less intense that anxiety becomes.
You got it.
We've got breathing, distraction,
Yes.
and I guess posture is next.
It is true. We laugh, but it's so important. When we're stressed, we have a tendency to slouch when we really need to sit. Slouching is so bad for you because it compresses your muscles and your bones, and it also restricts your internal organs. You want to sit tall, your chest expanded, straight back, and that allows your lungs and your internal organs to relax and function properly. It's so important because it allows your body to deal with stressors and your body's reaction to these stressors.
Okay.
You're going to do demo.
All right.
I got something for you. I got you a party favor.
Great.
Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to blow it. Just regular blow it until you hear the sound. Good job. So now we're going to compress your chest. So you're going to bend over and put your head between your knees, all the way, and blow. Oh. Isn't that strange?
Yes.
It still works. It's not a trick
Okay.
one like last time. So what we're noticing here is by having a stressor to your body and by not sitting tall and straight, you can't handle the same body stressors. right? So we always want to go back to that. If you're stressed for whatever reason, I want you to stop and pay attention. How are you standing? How are you sitting? Are your legs crossed? Are you sitting tall? And if you're not, stop and change all of that.
Wow, I didn't realize how important posture was to managing my anxiety.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah. If someone's experiencing a lot of anxiety or a panic attack, the first thing that they should do is acknowledge the uselessness of their anxiety,
Yes?
breathe,
Good.
distract, and then be mindful of their posture.
Excellent.
Is there any medicine or pill somebody could take right now to help manage their anxiety?
There's a lot of things on the market right now, and I personally like to steer away from drugs and alcohol. I'm not a huge believer in that. My opinion is that they're only really short-term solutions that don't actually fix the problem. What you really need to do is you need to sit up, you need to breathe, and you need to consciously force yourself to distract yourself. This will allow your brain to grow and to heal and to start making positive associations to those stimuli. Using drugs or alcohol is only an artificial distraction, and your brain won't actually change. So you're not actually fixing any problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of natural remedies that are out there. Some of my personal favorites are the amino acid called L-theanine. There's also GABA. There's a lot of different supplements that can help you calm yourself down, but we'll talk about that in the supplementation video. So again, I just wanted to point out that there are some really great all-natural products out there that are surprisingly very powerful, and that's a really much better route.
Where can I find these natural remedies?
Well, a lot of them are readily available online, but I recommend if you do get one that has L-theanine, GABA, and 5-HTP. Make sure it's 100% natural, and you'll see that written on the bottle, from quality raw materials, and they're dosed properly.
What do you mean by that they're dosed properly?
So a lot of products may claim that they have the GABA or the L-theanine, but they may only have a very minute amount, which is not enough to give you the positive effect. So if you go to the Butterfly Method website, you'll get a ton of information and recommendations on supplementation for anxiety, relaxation, mood support. There's actually a product on there that I really like, and it's called D-Celerol. And it has all those three things in there that I mentioned, the L-theanine, the GABA, and the 5-HTP. And it's properly dosed, and it's relatively inexpensive, and it's a product I like.
Yeah, I'll be looking for this. So what are some other things that somebody can do to help manage their anxiety today?
Okay, well, you can actively practice meditation. Also, it's really important that you actively take downtime to breathe deeply, relax, and focus on the mind. We've been evolved to need downtime, and you need to respect that if you want to thrive. I also recommend getting enough sleep. Not getting enough sleep has been directly associated with your lack of ability to handle anxiety. Ever not get enough sleep and you feel grumpy the next day, and you go to the local grocery store and you're like irritated with whatever the checkout counter person had to say, or even just the people waiting in line?
A bit more often than I'd like to admit.
That's sleep deprivation. Your body just can't handle the stress if it hasn't slept enough. It's just not prepared to cope with the day's stimuli. Now, there are a number of studies that show that lack of sleep leads to a loss of cognitive ability and a decrease in ability to handle stress.
Wow. I didn't know that my sleep was that tied into my mental stability.
Oh, it's vital.
Guess that's a pretty good reason for me to hit the snooze button in the morning.
Oh, I agree.
Maybe a couple extra times.
I agree.